Hey guys, it's Ronnie from Fun Necessary. You may have noticed that this video is a lot longer than videos we normally put out on our channel. This video deals with issues of gatekeeping and the lack of diversity in comic books, and it was really important to me and Andy, as well as our guests, Justin and Alice, that we did this topic justice. We didn't want to kind of compact this video down into a small bite-sized format because we had a really good conversation and we thought it was important that you guys hear it. We have linked to different articles and tweets in the description below that can help you understand these issues better and also give more context to the things that we're talking about. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this kind of format, let us know if you like a longer video format. But thank you very much, and we hope you enjoy our video. As you guys know, me and Andy are both into comic books. I tend towards the Marvel side of the fence, while Andy's our resident DC expert. And probably more of a Marvel expert than I am, but he's definitely our DC expert. And we've noticed a bit of a tonal shift in the past couple of years, and especially with DC Rebirth coming up, that Marvel is going to a much darker, less hopeful, strange place, while DC is kind of the arm of hope and the torch of light.
So they're basically going back to what they were in the 90s.
Yeah.
Ignoring Batman v Superman.
If only we could all just ignore Batman v Superman.
Right.
I enjoyed it for what it was.
I know you did.
DC has become focused on hope and optimism again, and it is so refreshing to have Wally West back, as he's probably like the happiest, most hopeful person ever. And pre-New 52 Superman is back, and he's this beacon again. And even comics like Batman and Nightwing are becoming more positive again.
There's love back in the comics.
Yeah.
These relationships that haven't been around for years are all of a sudden rejoining. And
DC
things are looking good.
has Green Arrow and Black Canary like talking again and dating, and Aquaman and Mara are getting married. Like, it's so good. It's so great.
So just confirming, people hooking up equals hope.
No, but like when they hate each other and they used to be married before the New 52, it's a little like, wow, like how do they not know each other anymore? And like it was a huge bummer.
DC...
So seeing even like friendships that didn't exist in the New 52, seeing them rekindled and reconnected when Barry Allen in DC Rebirth remembered Wally West, and it was their friendship that pulled him into reality again from the Speed Force, I shed a tear.
So it's New 52 was trying to portray the heroes as a little bit more flawed, a little bit more mistrusting, and those flaws led to a lot of...
They were dicks.
Or that. I mean,
They were all jerks.
And now Rebirth is getting back to the heroes as friends, the heroes as on a team.
Dare we even say the heroes as heroes?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, heroes who aren't fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
No one else is
There's good guys and there's bad guys, and the good guys
fight the bad
guys, and they suffer losses. And sure, there are trials and hard moments, but you know where the lines are, and the good guys at some point are gonna win. Marvel, on the other hand,
I will say that DC is, just as Marvel is going back to a place that they were in the 90s, DC is going to a place where comics superhero comics kind of were born.
Yeah.
In an era where people needed heroes, and the people who needed them were the creators.
that is their discussed mission statement, is that they're getting back to the beginning and how heroes should be.
That's like they listen to their fans.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah, Marvel.
Ronnie,
what did Marvel do?
Yeah.
Marvel.
I don't read Marvel comics.
Marvel did three things, in my opinion. I am done with Marvel for a while.
Whoa.
Yes,
Done with Marvel.
I am so Marvel. I am so Marvel.
Except for now.
I
For a little while.
frequently use the hashtag Marvel and only Marvel. I was through and through. I was a fan of Secret Wars. I enjoyed that.
That's the
I enjoyed
Spider-Man on an alien planet gets a black suit Secret Wars, or we're just gonna tell a bunch of AU coffee shop.
I enjoy Doctor Doom being the father to the Fantastic Four children, Secret Wars. it got weird.
Steve and Bucky being kind of gay on a planet of barbarians.
That was so cool. That was so cool. But still not even there. But still just like kind of vaguely.
You can't really be gay.
Right. Secret Wars was cool, and I've discussed in other videos. I won't go over it too much. But Civil War 2, the fact that we have to stop everything, jump onto a new train of new comics that are going to put all their stories on halt, irks me to no end. The fact that it's a rehash of a not that long ago story was also a thing that I was not excited for. So Civil War 2, wasn't going to read that, but I was still a Marvel guy. Captain America's a Nazi. Captain America's Hydra. Whatever you want to consider Hydra, Captain America is one of the baddest guys that you could imagine.
Steve and Bucky.
And they're Nazis. Like,
Yeah.
Nazis.
Steve and Bucky can't be gay, but at certain points, both of them can be working for Hydra, killing innocent people.
Exactly. It was something that it didn't shock me. These kind of things happen in comics. I didn't accept it as like my Cap, my Steve. But it wasn't something that I was like, well, I'll never read Marvel again. Number 3 was the death of Rhodey, of War Machine.
Whoa, spoilers!
Spoilers. In the first issue of Civil War 2, Rhodey gets killed by Thanos.
Very exciting, everyone who saw Rhodey being a tragic hero in the Civil War movie. I'm going to go pick up this new Civil War thing. It's going to talk about Rhodey and how he's developing, and he's going to be a really interesting character, and Thanos punches him so hard in the stomach his back explodes.
There's so many things, and I highly recommend an article on, is this IO9? IO9 by Evan Narcisse. He completely lays out exactly how I'm feeling about this. There are so few black characters that have long been standpoints.
A-list.
Yes.
Yeah.
And War Machine is one of them. He had many solo series. He had some great series by Greg Pak, who's currently writing Totally Awesome Hulk. It is what Evan writes about in his article. The complete tone deaf ideals of Marvel that in a piece called Civil War, the first character to die in both series is a character of color. It is nonsense to me to build this character up. Only he is in a relationship with Carol Danvers.
Captain.
The president comes to him and says, "I want you to be, a presidential candidate." He wants him to be the first super. He's like, "There's at some point one of you superheroes is going to run for president. I want you to be the first one."
Listen, I'm Team Cap for Civil War, but I would vote for Rhodey.
It baffles me. And Axel Alonso came out with an interview recently where he said, we can't take it off the table that maybe we have to X out Tony Stark. Then why did you not X out Tony Stark? If you wanted to make an impact, if you wanted to make this grand gesture of Civil War 2 is a big deal, Tony Stark would have done fine for your X out.
Yeah,
Also-
they've gone that route before.
Yes.
The last time they did Civil War.
Also, Rhodey v. Carol would have been nuts.
Yes.
That would have, if you
Yes.
want to split the fandom on which side are you on, Rhodey v. Carol would have been so much more emotional than Stark v. Danvers.
I'm not saying Marvel needs to change everything they're doing. I'm not saying Marvel needs to tend to my whims and things. But in a comics landscape where DC is becoming the comics that I kind of want to be reading as far as superheroes go, I'm going to read Vision by Tom King until he's done, and then he's on Batman, so I'll keep reading him there. I'm going to read Totally Awesome Hulk. I'm going to read Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Panther and Ms. Marvel by G. Willow Wilson. As far as being invested in the Marvel universe, I don't care, and I don't really want them to have my money at this.
There's also, if you look at the Divided We Fall image, it was pointed out, that you have a lot of white gun-toting characters in the one side, and then the other side it's Miss Marvel and Wasp and I can't remember everyone on that side. A new character, or not new character, but a sort of obscure Iron Man character who might be the new War Machine, and she is a black woman. You got a lot of people of color and fun characters on one side, and then the white people with guns on the other side, including Hydra Cap.
In a work called Civil War. The idea of how they're making an impact, and that's what they want to do, and that's fine. But I read a piece earlier from Axel Alonso before this all started that we highly considered what this meant to kill Rhodey and what it meant for for a culture that is more socially active and more interested in social justice, and just not wanting characters of color to just be erased. And you still went forward with it. Just because you say, we acknowledge it, we considered this was important to us, just because you say that doesn't erase the fact that you did it anyway.
If they didn't make the teams break down this way, how could they still be Team Cap and Team Iron Man?
So,
We need balance in the Force, you know?
Let me toss this out there. I think that there's a civil war, if you will, amongst nerd culture, where there's the kind of the old guard who they grew up in reading comics in the 70s and the 80s, and there's this hypermasculinity. That's when Watchmen and Punisher and Dark Knight Returns all got like really big.
Wolverine.
There's also just a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Not pessimistic, but
cynical.
A very cynical viewpoint, along with that like hyper-violent, hyper-masculinity that exists in that particular slice of fandom. And
then there's the people who are coming in from maybe their first exposure is the MCU or the CW shows, which are
Supergirl.
Phenomenal. And they're coming to comics and they're saying, hey, we don't see us in this. We don't see people of color. We don't see queer characters. We don't see...
we see women's torsos, but not their personalities.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and... Oh, that was well put. I can name one trans character, and it's Batgirl's roommate, and I don't even remember her name. I can't name anyone besides that. I know Jubilee and Amadeus Cho, and that's all I'm getting on Asian superheroes. I mean, Wong is like a sidekick. Shang-Chi, that's all I got. Who?
Sunfire.
He hasn't been around since like the 90s. I'm not going to count him.
Okay.
You don't count if you're rich.
When did Sunfire do anything? That's all the Asian characters I can name. We still haven't had a black character carry one of the movies. We don't have any queer representation in any of the movies.
Nope. Black Panther's gonna get a movie.
But it hasn't happened yet.
How far off is Captain Marvel, the first female
solo
carry?
3 years. We're counting down.
If I were to name other LGBT characters, we got like Mystique. Maybe she's never like officially been called.
Is it in the comics or the movie?
Yeah, we're talking comics or movies.
Comics.
In comics, she had a long relationship with Destiny. So
okay, so we got Mystique, North Star,
Iceman.
but like that's it, and like
weird past Iceman, but not present Iceman.
No, present
Iceman.
Present Iceman came out.
But that was
it was a convoluted.
coming out too. That was
convoluted.
Oh yeah, let's not
but
even
like
into that.
Yeah.
there's I mean, besides X-Men characters, there's no A-listers that I can name that are queer. There's no A-listers in the movies that are queer. The fandom is frustrated, and so you have these people who are like, I just want to see people get blown up, and like I want my heroes to be dark and edgy. And then there's this kind of new corner of fandom that's like, no, I want some optimism, I want some hope, I want to see myself
there's people
in these books and in these movies and in these TV shows.
It's crazy because like there are people who will go, I don't want politics in my comics, I just want fun. And like
Is it not fun to tell stories about more than one type of person?
Yeah.
Is it unfun to have like women and queer
that's correct.
characters?
And it would be
of color?
so
I guess
easy.
that's not
like for people who are you've got Mystique, who is currently headlining the most recent X-Men film with a really solid actress, an Oscar-winning actress playing her.
Why keep her straight in the movies? Why make her straight in the movies? Also, I mean, why are Magneto and Xavier? Anyway, no one gets that.
Yeah.
No one believes that.
Justin mentions a really good article by Andrew Wheeler from Comics Alliance it just tears down the Marvel and the industry in general, and the systemic problems of the industry. You want to talk a little bit more about?
Well, that was it does a really good job with going from the beginning of comics when they were being created by people like Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel. Jack Kirby made Captain America. These are all Jewish creators who were creating in the 40s when Jewish people were not treated so good. Still not treated great, but really bad. And these people needed, felt like it was a sort of catharsis to create characters who they felt would stand up for them. And then we had people come in the 80s who were making characters like Wolverine and Lobo and the Punisher and this idea of go out there and beat the crap out of anyone who's wronged you. And it was made by people who were part of a white straight male establishment who never felt like they needed a champion because they were never victimized or oppressed.
And to be fair, that whole like questioning authority and not trusting people, it was around like the Nixon era and like the Reagan era, and so even if you were a straight male, you might not have been satisfied with your government, and there was definitely a questioning of authority happening at that time. So the cynicism of politics did seep into the comics.
These stories are very reflective of their time. As one of DC's got Duke Thomas, who is a Black Robin, and that. Oh,
he's awesome.
And if you want to...
He's getting a bat suit now.
If you want to tell it, that was something I was saying about way back. Batman is a guy who frequently deals with corrupt cops. If you want to be reflective of your era, have Batman have a kid who's very likely to get shot by corrupt cops. But, so people are coming to comics now from movies, from shows like Supergirl, which is like, hey, look, you got a lady main character.
And it's fun, and it's hopeful, and it's inclusive.
And they're finding comics to not really be as open to that.
There are some slices of comics that are fun, hopeful, inclusive, but they're the exception, not the rule.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And when creators make those, the fans go, what is this crap? I don't want this crap.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The vocal fans.
Fans.
The fans that do like it are the fans that have been marginalized and have been oppressed, and when they do voice those opinions, they are harshly shut down and trampled, and then then their stories are also erased because they cannot be the vocal
gate checked. Like, oh, what, you're reading comics because like you cosplay, or like you're reading comics because like you like fanfic, and it's like, who cares? Like, was your first experience like Stan Lee like gifting you like the first copy of Amazing Spider-Man #1? Then shut up. Like,
when and how are participating in fandom from a creative standpoint, cosplaying, writing fan fiction, drawing fan art, how are those less worthy pursuits than collecting comics, discussing comics, or archiving information? Those are all different ways to engage with medium, and it's totally crap.
I'm going to throw this out here. It might be a controversial statement. I don't think anyone has ever wanted to buy and read superhero comics without liking superhero comics. And even if they do, Alice is my fiance, and she loves Sailor Moon. And when we got together, I was like, okay, this is important to you, so I want to know what it is. I wasn't trying to do it to impress her. I wanted to know what it is. So I read it, and guess what, guys? Now I like Sailor Moon. So, that's how that happens.
I mean, I'm just gonna plug, because if you are like, man, I'm so tired of the cynicism of American comics, go read Sailor Moon! There's so much hope! It's filthy with hope!
Everybody dies.
Yeah, but they all get better.
So,
10 times.
But that's, if you think someone is pretending to like comics to impress someone or whatever, who cares? Be like, alright, we'll read these, you might like them. And you may turn someone into a comics fan.
What is the cost of pretending to like comics to anyone except for that one person? Does anyone know?
I think you can speak to that more than anyone else, because there is no gain that you can receive. Even if you pretend to like comics, you are going to get mansplained.
And
I am doing the talking. You do the talking, because
Oh no, I have gone to so much effort to fake people into thinking that I'm a nerd. I've made costumes to trick people into thinking that I'm a nerd.
Costumes cost a lot of money.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the amazing thing, is that people don't seem to realize that all of these pursuits that are the fake geek girl pursuits, or just the fake geek pursuits, probably cost as much as if not more money, and take as much as if not more time than whatever people are doing in comic book stores and the comic book stores that they make us uncomfortable entering.
It definitely takes more time to like write a good fan fiction.
Oh yeah.
Or to make a cosplay than it does to like hunt down at a convention like that comic you're looking for. Like I have been looking for the first appearance of Tim Drake for years at conventions. Like I'll go to the box and I'll ask the guy like, hey, do you know if you have this? And he might say, oh, we'll check this box, and then like I'll look for it. I've been looking for it for years. I finally got it on eBay for a good price. Yay. Anyway, making any of the cosplays I've made, or watching Alice work on the mind-blowing stuff that she has worked on, takes more time and effort than I have ever put in for trying to find that one obscure comic, because I love Tim Drake and no one else does apparently. But
I love Tim Drake.
Thank you, I appreciate that so much.
He was my Robin.
It takes so much more time and work to make a costume, or it takes so much more time or work to write a fan fiction, or to do fan art. And like the fact that there's this ownership of the fandom, almost, of like we're taking what we like and we're not seeing ourselves in it, so we're going to put ourselves in it either through cosplay or fan art or fan fiction or whatever it is.
I mean, and this is particularly boggling to me because creative engagement with comic fandom, as far as I understand, has always kind of been a gateway into being a creator. It's the people who were drawing fan art 10 years ago who are drawing the books now.
Mm-hmm.
It's people who were writing their story about them meeting Spider-Man 15 years ago who are now actually writing Spider-Man. Like, you don't just one day wake up and say, I'm going to make comics.
And I think that is where, through all of this exasperation that we're feeling now, I think that's where we can see a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. At the end of the Andrew Wheeler piece on Comic Alliance, he talks about how, just like you said, those people are going to be the ones that are writing the comics and drawing the comics and lending their perspective and what they want to see on the page. They're going to put it on the page because that's the fandom that's growing up. And with a bitterness and a rightfully so bitterness and an animosity towards what they're seeing today, it's going to be tenfold.
We're already also starting to see stuff like the Batgirl comic, DC Comics Bombshells.
Yes, Marguerite Bennett is my favorite.
And it was, okay, so all the superheroes are ladies. Well, why? Just 'cause? You didn't ask that question when they were all dudes.
No one's ever asked that question when they're dudes.
Yeah.
Never had someone ask, why are they all boys?
Yeah, the big controversy, not controversy, that's the wrong word. The upswell surrounding the Marvel announcement about what Steve Rogers was going to become started with hashtag give Steve a boyfriend, give Cap a boyfriend. They made him a Nazi. They
because apparently that's more acceptable.
And the end of the Andrew Wheeler piece rightfully points out that the creators of today should give Cap a boyfriend because the
creators of tomorrow are gonna.
Absolutely, and I'm that's the hope. I'm excited for that. I think it is outrageous that we have to wait for that for 5, 10, 15 years down the line.
What was the Chuck Wendig quote? You're gonna get smashed by a non-cat rainbow meteor. Like, it's coming.
Yeah. I mean Chuck Wendig has had nothing but like tweetable bite after tweetable bite when people complain that he's making Star Wars gay. Like all of his responses have been hilarious.
That's the
we love you, Chuck Wendig. We love you.
When the straights are like the white straight dudes are like, oh no, they're taking away our culture. Yeah, they are.
Yep.
Yeah.
That I always just they'll be dead soon, and not like actually dead soon. Although in some cases, yes, phone calls have been made.
They're becoming irrelevant, and they realize that, and they're going. The people that used to own conventions and like be the cool kids at conventions are going and realizing, oh no, this isn't all about white straight males anymore. And they realize they're becoming irrelevant and they feel threatened. And it's like, no, don't feel threatened. Come join us because what we're doing is a lot of fun.
And I will say those conventions still pretty heavily straight white male. It's not all about me. It's not all about that.
I used to have a whole cake, and now I have.
You still have a whole cake,
3/4,
but they made more cakes.
Yeah, that's actually the problem. I don't think there are conventions where people have said, "Oh, well, now we have people coming in to talk about intersectionality in fandom, and now we have cosplayers, and now we have more creative ways to engage with the material. So we're gonna stop selling action figures and comic books. We're gonna close that whole section." I don't think that happens.
No, I still get action figures and comic books, and I also cosplay and buy fan art.
Whoa!
Oh no!
These conventions are big, and they're only getting bigger. I think they're a really good microcosm for the way that nerd culture has changed, even over the last 5 years.
Do not mistake the fact that we have to do things differently now and think it means that we're doing things less now.
Right.
No, it's actually happening more.
It's more for people who aren't you.
Yeah.
It's taking yourself out of your own perspective, seeing the world and the industry and engagement from somebody else's perspective, and saying, "Oh, this is better for someone else who's not me."
And if you care about superheroes and you believe in being heroic, you should like that.
Yeah. And wait, were you guys just talking about something called empathy? And imagining things from someone else's perspective?
Did you say apathy? Anyway,
and seeing how things affect them? What? And Justin, I want to piggyback off your point too. Whose side do you think Captain America would be on in this conversation? I'm not talking about Hydra Cap. I'm talking about real Cap.
Cap.
Steve Rogers. Whose side would he be on in this conversation? We got to flip it over to DC. Whose side would Wonder Woman be on? Whose side would Clark Kent be on? And if you think for a second that they would be on the side of, what, I don't want more people here touching my thing, I like my thing the way it is, then you're wrong.
Generally speaking, I feel like Steve Rogers would be on the side of the little guy.
Yeah.
Who likes to draw things.
Yeah, I feel like... And Superman started off as, beating up oppressive dick
He took
bags.
down the KKK.
Yeah.
Superman, in real life.
In real life.
It's an interesting drunk history, watch it. Clark Kent would be ashamed of you. Mm-hmm. And Steve Rogers would be ashamed of you. And,
Tony Stark would be ashamed of you, and that's a really hard thing to do, because his, shame
He's
got a really high bar for shame.
But he would be ashamed.
I think that what we talked about at the beginning of people creating heroes because they needed heroes, it lends very well to this. The heroes that were created would be heroes. If your idea of a hero is someone who blocks other people who are interested in the same thing as you are from making your thing a little bit more inclusive, I don't want to read your superhero comics.
And to the creators, give me A-list characters in your movie universes that are women, that can carry their own film. Give me A-list characters in your movies that are queer, that are people of color. Give me them in your comics. Stop neglecting the diverse world and culture that is within the umbrella of geek and nerd culture.
I would happily go see an Anthony Mackie Captain America movie.
And if you are not willing to promote the already existing women, queer, people of color characters that you have, then it's time to take the ones that you already have established and start shaking things up.
And I will say that to take it a step...
That might be how we got Nazi Cap.
They shook in the wrong direction.
Yeah, in a positive way.
Think about how you're shaking things up.
And if we could take it a step higher than that, hey Marvel, hey DC, hey industry, let's have more people of color, more queer, more transgender
Creators.
Yeah.
They're out there. They exist. They're making stuff.
Me and Annie have had a conversation where I know creators that write, across their racial line, across their gender line, that write different characters, do a good job. I feel generally icky about a male writing a female character. I feel generally icky about a white person writing a character of color.
Greg Rucka does a pretty good job with Wonder Woman, but
they're great. Like they're good. I want to get to a point where we have so many marginalized people creating comics where it's just natural to say, well, you've experienced this. Can you take this story on because you know the story that can be told?
We're in a situation where overwhelmingly the creators are not people of color. Like I said, Greg Rucka is probably one of the most famous and well-known and exceptional writers of Wonder Woman. And that's great. But it's a problem because we need to see women writing Wonder Woman. We need to see queer people writing Wonder Woman because she lived on an island of women. She is not straight.
Yeah, on what planet is Wonder Woman heterosexual? What the hell?
Someone's going to throw in the comments and be like, well, on Earth 5.
No, you're wrong. Sorry. She's her non-straightness is a singularity across all universes.
The
Did you
issue
read Wonder
is,
Woman Earth 1,
like,
by the way?
No.
That is super queer.
Awesome.
we need to get to, like, right now we're in a place where even if we do a good job, like, it would be great if we got to a place where women can write men and write them as people, and men can write women and gay characters and write them as people, and there's no problem. But we're not at that place right now.
I mean, to do that, you have to invite all of these people to the table in the writing room. Because I don't think comics are written
And give
in silence and in isolation at a single desk.
and give them the credit on the books.
Yeah.
I highly believe that Greg Rucka has consultants who are female on his. He absolutely would have to. But are those people showing up in the book? Are they showing up on the front page? It's important that these people have the hyper visibility that they need to make their point known.
There's someone typing right now who's like, well, how can anyone write Aquaman because no one's an Atlantean? Shut up.
That's all we need to say.
Shut your mouth. You're a moron. Get off my YouTube video.
I'm just so exasperated, and this turned into a way more like sullen, like
I'm
rant.
gonna say something. I'm gonna cap this off with something that will make like happy notes.
Okay.
Because I have seen like this is changing. The optimism.
Star Wars is doing it well right now. They're bringing in women creators, they're bringing in queer creators, they're elevating people of color in their books and their movies and their comics, and so like I see it happening in the Star Wars fandom, and that's really positive and uplifting, and I'm ready to see.
But like
it
even
happen more.
fandom is changing.
Yeah.
We went to Philly Wizard World, and I dressed as Civil War Cap, and a little girl wanted to give me her fan art, a little tiny girl, and I was like, your Cap. Alice was dressed as Captain Marvel and got stopped way more than I did.
Good.
Like, there was so much love for Carol Danvers. There's so much love for Kamala Khan. Mm-hmm. This is, like...
I don't want to cut you off, but there's so much love for Carol Danvers and Kamala Khan because Kelly Sue DeConnick, a female creator, did an amazing job on the book. G. Willow Wilson, a female creative, and a Muslim creator, did a very good job, is amazing. And Ms. Marvel, these people are telling stories, and they know what they're doing.
So, the system is changing. Right now, it might seem like people who are stuck in the past are being the loudest voices, and they are getting louder because they are losing and they are being pushed aside, and the real, true, like, the good people, the good ideas, they are coming forward, they are being supported, and in a couple of years, it's only going to get better.
Closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts is, I think in a couple of years it is only going to get better, but it requires being vocal consumers. I'm going to step out of comics for about 10 seconds to talk about marginalization, especially of queer women on television. If you have had Twitter in the last 3 months, I'm sure you've seen the whole like Lexa thing. That has spurred a lot of thought and change in the industry about, how can we kill off queer characters? Oh, probably not like that. Because of vocal fans who said, this is wrong, here's why. The people who are clinging to an exclusive, cynical, white straight men punching things until they win vision of comics and an exclusive, hostile, why are you coming into my comic book shop? You have to name your 10 favorite comic book characters and who wrote their books and if they ever died and how tall each one of them is before you can buy a comic book.
Dude, even I can't do that.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh.
No. Like that's
the scrutiny that any fan who's not a white straight man faces compared, like in just in passing, is remarkable. Try it sometime if you haven't experienced it, or pay attention. It's interesting. But the thought that I was trying to get at is, be vocal. It will change. It will only change faster when you get your opinion out there and you say, I want hopeful comics. I want representative comics. I want inclusive comics.
To jump off of what Alice was saying, Marvel has a just a creator in general, Kate Leff, who's a queer creator, has tweeted recently that she will continue for the duration of her career to create awesome queer characters, and she's never going to kill them. Because clearly, that's not what the industry standard is.
My closing comment is demand change and give marginalized people a voice. And so if they're already writing an article, link to it, promote their voice, don't talk over them, just give them the microphone.
Yeah, I endorse everything that was just said.
And so we're going to link to a ton of articles of people who are writing about this that probably experience it more than some of us.
Yep. And
go check out what they have to say. And yeah, guys, let's make fandom better.
Yeah. And fandom is good. Let's make it better. Let's make the industry better.
Yeah.
Let's make the things that we are fans of better.
Well said.
Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Do you want to plug the cosplay pages?
Transformation Sequence Cosplay.
Where you can see her, Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
and many, many other very well put together costumes. I'm Dr. Shenanigans Cosplay, where you can see my Captain America, and also many other well put together costumes by Alice.
Guys, I'm Ronnie Palmieri.
Andy Randolph.
I'm Justin Whitmore.
Alice Bryson.
This has been a very just deflated, fun, necessary, hoping that there's hope left in the world. Remember, the greats were great because they paint a lot. Lots of different creators painted of lots of different backgrounds, and they got good.
Yeah, where's more of the Leonardo da Vinci bisexual representation?